truth of it is that the understanding of it cognitively does not create the change.
Yeah. You just can't you can't think your way
No.
through. You can't think your way out of trauma.
You can't, and the
No.
trauma really lives in the body. This is something that's really key to understand, is that it is literally somatically trapped inside of our nervous system and inside of our body, and until we are able to use the right tool
Mhm.
to access that, it's gonna fall flat, and then we're gonna think that it's our fault. This is The Becoming, a podcast about the sacred and powerful journey of awakening and becoming who you truly are.
We're your hosts, Kate and Judy Moon. As a mother-daughter duo with many years of experience in coaching and personal transformation and lifetimes of wisdom between us, together we explore what it truly means to come alive, living with deeper meaning and purpose, breaking generational chains, reclaiming freedom, and guiding the soul's return to wholeness.
Through soulful conversations about healing, transformation, and the power of MDMA-assisted therapy, along with raw, behind-the-scenes reflections and insights that illuminate the path forward, we invite you into a journey that's not just about healing your past. It's about breaking through the invisible barriers that have kept you stuck and finally stepping into the life you've always known you were meant for.
Whether you're in the middle of a heartbreak, an awakening, a breakdown, or a breakthrough, you're not alone. This is The Becoming.
So today we're going to dive into the top 5 reasons that a sacred healing journey with MDMA-assisted therapy creates lasting change when nothing else has before.
Underscore, nothing else has before.
Probably the common denominator that I see, we have a lot of common denominators with the clients that have come to us, but the number one that I see is that all of the clients share when they come to us, I feel like I've done everything. I feel like I've thrown the whole kitchen sink at this my whole life. Like
I've done all the programs,
I've done all the
all the
therapy.
therapy. I've, read all the books. I
I've done
mean,
all the programs, all the courses,
yeah.
and this thing is still haunting me. I feel haunted
Mhm.
by my past. I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I can't move forward.
Yeah.
And
And I just don't know why.
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
And, Jude, what I hear underneath that is there's something wrong with me.
Oh, I hear it too. And guess what? I have also felt it myself.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
My name is Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, Kate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we both have had experienced that for a lot of years. And it's very painful.
I think one of the most painful places to be is to have a lot of knowledge, to be very well resourced, to be really well studied to the point that you can even repeat all of these ideas that sound really good, whether they're about, coaching or psychology, and you understand how you tick, but you can't actually change your behavior. That's
You
really painful.
you can apply it to your own life
It's
and
not
and get
your
the results that you want.
yes,
And then of course, what do we think?
something's wrong with me.
I am the one. I'm the common denominator here, so there must be something wrong with me.
That's another thing too, especially in the more positive psychology, maybe coaching movement, to be like, I'm 100% responsibility for my life and my experience. There's nothing inherently that I disagree with that.
Mhm.
However, for the reasons that we're going to be diving into today, you might not have as much agency to actually take that 100% responsibility as maybe these programs or these mentors are suggesting.
Again, underscore exactly just what you shared, Kate, right there.
So, before we dive in, I'm going to read a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for educational, harm reduction, and storytelling purposes only. We're sharing our own personal experiences and perspectives, and nothing you hear should be taken as medical advice or a recommendation. MDMA remains a controlled substance outside of approved research and clinical settings. If you feel called to explore this kind of healing, do your own research, seek out safe avenues, and above all, trust your own intuition.
So, diving in, we're going to talk about MDMA
Mhm,
and what it is and what it isn't,
mhm.
and literally the 5 reasons why. I mean, the 5 top reasons. There are a million reasons,
Yeah.
but the top 5 reasons why MDMA people are having the kinds of results that they are having when nothing else has worked. And we're talking about, Kate, the kinds of results that are not like, over a 10 to 15 to 20-year period that people really struggle to find in therapy.
Mhm. We won't name the book, but you have recently been reading a book by a psychologist that and it has some fantastic
Yes.
information in it. And she's giving a lot of personal examples, of clients that gave her permission to share in this book about their experience working with her.
And she's just slipping in, like the number of years that she's been working with these people just as a kind of as a side thought or passing thought.
Like, oh, 26 years
Yeah, like
and
15 to, 26 years.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, I mean, and again, it's, very valuable information, but I'm thinking, my Lord, these people, 26 years into therapy and they're just beginning to like have this wake up call
Mhm,
and this awakening.
mhm,
And I'm like, oh my God. Like with our experience, Kate, our own personal experience and the experience with our clients, it's crazy. Every single one. And I can actually say that
mhm.
after they've had their first journey and we have their integration call afterwards and, a few days later, a week later, every single one says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I would never, ever been able to get to where we got to. I can't even imagine in like, I don't know, 10 years, 15, about what, 20 years? I don't know."
Said to me, I would have gone to my grave never having cracked this open
Yeah.
and been able to unleash myself and free myself the way that I have literally in one day. And we're not here to be like, "Oh, we're doing all the quick fixes." Like, you and I are not
No.
quick fix type of
No,
gals.
we are so not. We have been in the trenches ourselves and with other clients
And
over the years.
And that is why we are so passionate about this work. And, one of the things that people ask us about is like, how do you navigate this given that this has not yet been FDA approved and that this is a controlled substance?
Hmm.
And so, there are safeguards that we have put into place. Number one, the whole world is moving. There is so much research and understanding about psychedelics, although this is actually not it's not a psychedelic
It's not a true psychedelic.
because it's not a hallucinogen, so we will
Yes.
get into that.
Yeah.
But, people ask like, so, I mean, the world is moving towards more understanding with using other healing
Healing.
modalities
Yes.
and substances and medicines in order to accelerate healing and personal growth and understanding.
I mean, honestly, the fabulous book, The Body Keeps the Score, right in the very beginning, he talks about working with people coming back from war, from Vietnam, PTSD patients, and how they absolutely, speaking of being haunted for many, many years. And this whole thing about the psyche and the nervous
Yeah.
system and all of that, that there is a movement
Mhm.
that's happening, that people are becoming much more aware and open to different kinds of substances, plant medicines,
Yeah.
psilocybin, MDMA,
Ketamine.
ketamine.
Yeah.
Exactly. So all of these people are becoming open because talk therapy has just not been enough. And people are suffering, like big time suffering.
Well, and if you've ever actually read the book Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, he was around and working with patients when the whole antidepressant movement started.
Mm,
And, therapists were so excited and so on board with, oh my gosh, we actually have something that's going to really help people. But here we are like 40 years later, and the rates of depression and anxiety haven't changed at all. And so something is like, we are being failed by many of the modalities that we have been given in the past. And that is one of the reasons why, when you and I had our own experiences with MDMA, and with our commitment to our own health and to be able to actually serve in the greatest way that we can, it became so obvious to us that we had to do this work because we had never experienced anything that even came close to the kind of impact that this was having in all of the lives that it was touching.
nothing.
Nothing.
And we had done 6 journeys of ketamine
Yeah.
where it was a really lovely experience.
Ish, whatever.
I know, I mean,
Some people, and again, we're not here to like
no,
bash anything that's
no, we're
working for
not.
someone.
But I mean, what we're really trying to do or committed to doing is really telling the truth from our side of the beach ball, our
Yes.
own experience, and it didn't really change anything.
No. No. There was, for me, no lasting change at all, and what we're talking about here are lasting changes. That's
Lasting
what I'm
change.
interested in.
Well, and Kate, you and I have been seekers for years. I've been a seeker for 1.5 years because that's how old I am.
Mhm. A million and a half
A
years,
1.5 years.
and, give or take a year or 2.
You know, plus or minus. And you have followed in my footsteps.
We have.
And together we have been on this long time journey of personal development, doing all the things,
Yeah.
including ketamine.
Yep.
That was like something that was kind of a next step for us.
Psilocybin, plant medicine. Mhm.
Exactly. And again, as you just shared, after our first journey, we knew that this was something absolutely that we needed to share with other people.
Yeah.
And it's just because of what we have experienced ourselves with the frustration of working with so many people for so many years as coaches
Yeah.
and living in our own bodies and our own psyches and just those places where we just weren't able to access
Yeah.
and move further in in our lives.
Right.
Places that we felt stuck, and we're having the same kinds of conversations with our clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So through the 60s and 70s, MDMA was being used actually therapeutically, primarily. It was being used a lot with couples, and it was being
Mhm.
used by therapists with individuals with incredible results.
Results.
And
And
then
then it wasn't the
unfortunately in the
80s.
80s, it
Yeah.
was, Nixon he became the president of the United States, and he waged the war against drugs, and so MDMA sadly was classified as a Schedule 1 substance, which basically means that it has no therapeutic benefits at all, which is a straight up lie from the devil. It's honestly incredibly depressing and very sad because it has not had the opportunity to help people that it really could have helped.
And especially from the 60s and the early 70s when
The Vietnam War.
after these boys were coming home from Vietnam with PTSD,
Yeah.
and it's heartbreaking for them, their families, their children,
Yeah.
and they were not being served, they were not being helped.
So
And yeah.
this right now, MDMA is in the process of it's in phase 3 trials with the FDA. It will be legalized at some point. And so one of the ways we work with our clients, we work with them online. We make sure that our clients are using a completely pure form of MDMA, so it's not cut with anything. MDMA, if on the street, it's called ecstasy or Molly, and it can commonly be cut with things like bath salts. I mean, there can be actually a very, very low percentage of MDMA in ecstasy.
Mhm.
Is what they found with our clients. They are using pure MDMA, which again is very therapeutic. We work with our clients online, and so when people ask us like, how do you navigate the legalities of this? We say, well, by not doing anything illegal.
Yeah, because we're not distributing the product,
We're not distributing the
the
medicine,
medicine.
and we're working with people, that are actually all over the world, and
Yeah.
so,
Long distance.
we're sitting here on our couch, and they're in their living room, snuggled up with their kitty cat or their dog and their, cup of tea and their favorite, fuzzy blanket, and whatever they choose to do while we're in the middle of coaching them is their
Yeah.
personal choice.
I will say, Kate, maybe the one good thing that came out of COVID
Mm,
was that we all got very used to Zooming, and it's a perfect setup because what we found is that the safety that our clients are experiencing, again, as you say, they're cozied up on their own couch in their own home. Nobody's getting in a car. No one's going anywhere. There's always, another human being that knows what they're doing. So, and we know that other human knows what they're doing. And so we're all connected.
we've done medical screening with them. I mean, we take this
Medical
very
screening,
seriously. Yeah.
absolutely. Making sure that any of their medications that they're taking at this current time is not going to interact with the
Yeah.
MDMA, et cetera.
They don't
Yeah,
have any medical
yeah.
conditions that would contraindicate their work. Yeah.
And I know you take it seriously, but I take it very seriously too after being a nurse for many
Yeah.
years, that these kinds of things are really, we really need to know these things
Mhm.
so that we can absolutely assure safety
Of course.
100%. And that's obviously our highest value.
Of course.
Yeah.
Some of our clients have come to us and said, "Oh my gosh, you work online." I mean, some people are thrilled because they don't live anywhere close to us, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that means I can do
You
this,
mean
like, next
you
week."
work online?
But the people that are a little bit hesitant, what we've explained is that honestly, working through Zoom, we have found that the results are even better
Yeah.
than working in person. And Jude's, it's for exactly the reason that you said that they're not
Mhm.
going into some sort of like a therapist's office. They feel extremely safe. They are
Yeah.
in their own environment. And we are literally like eye to eye on Zoom with them for about 6 hours,
Yeah.
working and doing some of the deepest work. However, inside of doing that work, they feel extremely safe and very protected.
I just feel so honored, honestly, and afterwards, so many of our clients
Y
have said, "And you sat there with me, eye to eye, for 6 hours. How do you do that?" And the truth of it is, it's like the 6 hours just they just go. They go so much more quickly though, because we are so, like, lack of a better word, zoomed in with each
we're dialed in,
we're
baby.
dialed in, but we are, and so connected, and just staying with the process with them. It's just such an honor
It is.
to
It's
be
such a
able
privilege,
to sit with someone who is waking up in their life like for the first time.
and to bear witness to this human birth and existence that
Yeah.
they are inside of.
That was something that struck me so much inside of my own first journey was that my guide sat there eye to eye and bore witness to my life,
Yeah. 71 at that time, years of life.
years of life of like someone literally sat there and was present for me for that kind of an experience. And inside the medicine, it was life changing.
How often do we have someone who is holding us with unconditional positive regard inside of a container where their entire agenda is simply being a loving presence and a compassionate presence and pouring their entire focus and attention on us for an extended period of time?
And
Many of us will never get that once in our
never.
lifetime.
And so focused that they are bringing out, asking the questions, getting curious,
Helping us to make
make
connections, going in for
connections.
the deep healing.
Yeah.
And the other thing just to mention that is a question for people is when you are the one inside of the medicine, the 6 hours go so quickly because of the state of consciousness that you are in.
Mhm.
And, the two of us, we're not on the medicine, but we'll tap into that state of consciousness. And those 6 hours go so quickly. Every time
For
we're
us
like,
as
I don't
well.
know where that time went. Like
It's like all of a sudden
we were all on another
we were
planet.
on another planet. Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah. So, MDMA is really like a Swiss Army knife for doing all types of therapeutic work. Right now, it's being studied specifically by the FDA for use for trauma
Hmm.
and PTSD, and it's incredible for those, but it's also being used so effectively for things like anxiety, for depression, for overcoming addiction, for things like eating disorders. It's also traditionally been used for couples work.
Mm.
So couples coming together that are, people that are on the brink of a divorce that have been in therapy for years and
This is a
years.
last ditch effort, Kate.
And the
Yep.
transformation that we have seen with couples in just a handful of hours is truly like earth shattering and out of this world.
And we'll share with you exactly why that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
in shortly. Yeah.
But the other thing is that we've really seen this as a tool for people to dig deep and tap into this untapped potential that's inside of them, to
Mm.
really discover their deepest purpose and to actually bring forth their soul work. And what
Yeah.
we talk about is that we feel like we are root cause coaches with this medicine in our back pocket, that we're not here to put band-aids on things, that the reason that this medicine and that the guided work that we do, the reason that it goes to the core of something like addiction and might actually help someone to overcome addiction is that we're not saying like, oh, just
Stop
stop
drinking.
drinking or stop eating.
Yeah.
We're saying, so why does that feel necessary? Why does that feel safe? How is that right now serving
Hmm.
you numbing the pain that you are in? So if we go to the root cause and we go to the pain, we go to the core, then the outpicturing of the pain, of the numbing of the pain, of the best solution that we have come up with
Of
to
what they
numb the
need to
pain.
do in order to numb the pain, they don't have to
They don't have to keep engaging in that behavior
that behavior.
anymore.
Yeah. Well, another thing that you didn't quite mention, Kate, yet, which is so,
Mm.
so critical, is trauma, which we're going to take this into and explain, like, why does it work so well with trauma? And, people that have experienced physical abuse, sexual abuse, horrific, events like, I don't know, an earthquake that, people died. I mean, whatever, anything that has imprinted within their nervous system to such a degree that the reason why that MDMA works so well is because it's a nervous system regulator. It actually gets down to the nervous system
So this is the
to
first reason
yeah,
why MDMA creates lasting change when other things haven't, is
yeah,
that it's a nervous system medicine.
yeah. We can't make change. Change does not occur from our brains. Again, as you're sharing in terms of, let's just say someone with an addiction, just stopping the behavior from your brain.
Mhm.
You can't do that. That's why it's not successful.
Or let's say that even you have spent years in therapy and you understand why you have reached to the for this addiction, why you are overeating or why you're reaching for the
Yeah,
alcohol in
you
order
get
to
it.
numb it. So you get that like, oh my gosh, let's say I had a wildly, narcissistic father who was abusive to my mother, he was abusive in the family,
Mhm.
and so I understand why this has occurred in my life. Just having the understanding,
Understanding isn't gonna do
it
anything.
doesn't heal
It
it.
doesn't heal it. So we have to literally get to that part of the nervous system, to that part of the brain, which number 2 is the amygdala, that
Mhm.
particular part of the brain that is our survival brain, the safety brain.
So what the MDMA does is that it quiets the amygdala.
Yeah.
So we have 3 layers to our brains. We have the brain stem, and that is the reptilian brain. And then we have the limbic brain that was developed after that, and the amygdala lives in the limbic brain. So that's very much our fight or flight center. And then we have the rational brain, which is like the prefrontal
Yeah.
cortex, and that's where we literally like have logic and reason.
And isn't that like 5% of the power is in our prefrontal cortex?
Yes.
And the 95% is all in the emotional
It's in
part of the
our
brain.
limbic and it's in
Limbic.
our reptilian brain.
Exactly.
And so the
So if we're
amygdala,
going to make a change, where do we need to go? We need to go to the 95%
I was like, I think we
power.
could just talk our way into it, Jude. Like, that just makes
That
sense.
just makes sense. But guess what happens, Kate, is that our first line of business as human beings is to stay alive.
It's to stay safe.
Is to stay in this body.
Yes.
Survival. And the amygdala and the whole limbic area of the brain is about survival and safety. So for an example, someone who has an alcohol addiction, they've had a lot of childhood trauma. They're aware that they had some trauma.
Right.
But they're not really too keen on diving into it. That it actually doesn't feel safe to actually look very deeply into it. And so that they just skirt along the surface and live a life and just deal with that discomfort and wanting to actually on the other side of this, just feel better.
Yeah.
So they continue to use the alcohol just to feel better. But all the while, it's the amygdala part of the brain that is trying to keep that person safe and say, no, it is not safe for you to go back into your childhood trauma. And so just, keep on doing the same thing.
Like, this is way too painful.
Hey, way too painful. Just put the Band-Aid on it because it's just way too painful to go back into your history. Well, the truth of it is, it's the survival part of the brain that's running the show right there. It's not the truth. It's not the truth because when the amygdala quiets itself, or we quiet the amygdala part of the brain with the MDMA medicine, with the medicine,
quiets the fear center.
Then the amygdala kind of goes over to the side for a bit, and we're able to access those parts of us that we weren't able to access, that felt unsafe. But ultimately, with the medicine, it's not unsafe to go back and address those things, those areas.
What it allows us to do is to get behind the brain's defense system.
Exactly.
It's like the brain has like an alarm system that is like booby trapped. So we have like, if anything gets close to it, like bombs are going off and alarms are going, and we have like grenades being fired out, and we quiet all of that, and we're able to get behind this big wall of defense,
of safety
and defense. And we actually realize that it's actually not so scary. So we're able to get behind the body's defenses and the brain's defenses in order to actually deal with what's really there, what it has been trying to protect. And some people I've had conversations with people that say, I'm really afraid of what's there. And I think that can be part of what the amygdala is actually protecting, and what we have experienced with every single client. And what we can promise you is that there is nothing there that you don't have the capability to handle. And you also, the beautiful thing is that your nervous system, it is very layered, and, the body really does keep the score. That's why we have to go to the nervous system. We can't just take this to the brain and try and deal with it there.
And think our way through.
We can't think our way through. But what I can promise you is that the nervous system won't give you more than you can handle to actually process and to deal with and to look at.
It never will.
No,
it never will.
Your whole system really is beautifully wired, and what we're doing is we're giving a helping hand.
Yeah. We're being able to access that part in a safe way without the amygdala kicking and screaming and putting up the shield. Because ultimately, healing is available, and healing is what everybody really, really wants, to get to the root cause, honestly, so that it doesn't have a chokehold on us anymore.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're living a half life, a life that is dictated by this need for the addiction. And no one can live a full life led by an addiction. It's literally like living with a noose around one's neck.
It is.
Yeah.
So the third reason that this really creates lasting change is that it accesses the part of the brain where trauma is stored. So we already touched on this, but what we really want to underscore is that most of the modalities that people have used in the past, they only use that 5% that you were talking about. So they go to the prefrontal cortex. And this is what, you and I have learned a tremendous amount through working with many mentors. We've learned a tremendous amount from books, from therapists. And again, like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm an expert. Like I can give you like a docent kind of a tour of, my shit and my trauma from all the shit that I've learned over the years working with all of these different modalities. But the truth of it is that the understanding of it cognitively does not create the change.
Yeah. You just can't, you can't think your way through. You can't think your way out of trauma.
You can't. And
No.
the trauma really lives in the body. This is something that's really key to understand is that it is literally somatically trapped inside of our nervous system and inside of our body. And until we are able to use the right tool
Hmm.
to access that, it's going to fall flat.
It's going to fall
It's gonna
flat.
fall flat, and then we're gonna think that it's our fault.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, the affirmations aren't working," or, like, "I just can't seem to get myself I can't seem to mobilize. I can't seem to do the thing that I know that I'm supposed to do."
Because it all comes back to safety. It all comes back to protection. We will not do something because our brain says we should do it, or a coach tells us,
Yeah.
just go out there and
Yeah.
and do it.
Go dive off that high
High
dive,
dive.
like, you'll be fine.
No,
The body doesn't think so.
the body doesn't think so, and it won't mobilize, as you said, Kate, if it is in fear and in lack of safety and in lack of survival. Period. End of the story. So that's why it's the somatic piece to this, the nervous system piece to this, that is really the magic.
So the fourth reason that this creates lasting change when other things don't is that MDMA is actually classified as what's called an empathogen. So that comes from the word empath. So you can think of it as a medicine that allows us to bring a lens of extreme
Mhm.
compassion and open heartedness to our own selves, to the other people in our lives, to the
Mhm.
decisions that we have made, perhaps even the regrets that
Mhm.
we have in life, and really cast a kind glance upon our whole life arc and trajectory in
Mhm.
general.
It's a heart opener.
It is a heart opener.
It opens our heart and it allows us to feel maybe for the first
Mhm.
time.
That was my experience, as I've already shared in a previous episode.
Yes.
My whole
Shield
my whole armor came
armor.
off.
Yeah.
It was like if you guys have seen Star Wars
Hmm.
and
And who hasn't?
who hasn't, the reactor shield around the Death Star is like, "Deactivate, bring it down."
So just bringing this back to the whole thing about like trauma, it's that you did not feel safe. The
No.
only way that you could feel safe, and you didn't even know it, Kate, was living your life with a shield. And it just went down because you discovered that, guess what? You actually didn't need to have that shield on anymore.
Right.
That it provided safety at one point in your life, but you didn't need it anymore to live a great life.
So not only am I able to then look back on the very young baby who would have put that up. And then all of there are, these memories that I have of my own life through the decades and seeing where I was closed off and I had no idea that I was. And I've been able to bring so much love and compassion to that girl that was really doing the very best that she could, operating with on very few cylinders.
And brilliantly, Kate,
Mhm,
brilliantly, you learned how to survive.
mhm. But the other thing that I now see, and this is something that I love that we always talk about with our clients, is, oh my gosh, from this vantage point, what could be possible now? So for me personally, with my armor having come off, my heart open, what kinds of experiences might be available to me now and as I move through the rest of my life
without the shield.
without the shield? What kinds of true connections with the humans might
Yeah.
I be able to have? How might I be able to bring compassion to other people and actually be able to help other people? What kind of love might I be able to experience and bring to myself and the world and the people that are close to me?
And the reason why we don't know it in the process, when you've got the shield up, is because it's normal.
Yeah.
It's the water that you swam in. It was the air that
That
you
I
breathed.
breathe.
And so it was normal. And so once that shield goes down, and not everybody's going to have a shield. I would say it's probably a pretty not uncommon.
A lot of our clients have shared that with me, and
Definitely, definitely.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
I think that I mean, and you and I talk about this a lot, the masks that we've learned to wear in order to feel safe, in order to survive, in order to function in the world, a lot of those masks start to dissolve, and a big question that our clients often come into a journey with is, "Who am I really? Who am I without all this shit that I've put on, that I've
I
taken on?"
I don't even know who I am. And so that begins a journey of a lifetime,
It's
doesn't it, Kate?
actually the
It's like
coolest journey to really be like, Can I see myself clearly? Can I uncover this beautiful masterpiece within and really get to know him or her?"
and because so much of that masterpiece that we have shielded, let's say,
Out of a sense that we needed to protect ourselves.
that we actually didn't have a proper vantage point of who we really are and ourselves because we did not see ourselves properly because we were shielded off, protected, all the things. So here it is. It's like you walk out the Dorothy. Dorothy walks, into like enters Oz,
Technicolor, baby.
and it's like a whole new world.
Yeah.
It's just such a beautiful thing to be able to witness and experience a technicolor world.
One of the things that we've shared before is that when we are needing to protect ourselves from the pain and we go numb or we numb out with various things. It could be distraction, it could be addictions, it could just be that, you
We
know,
disassociate.
we disassociate.
Mhm.
Yeah, that might be a way of not feeling the pain, but what it also means is that we
Mm,
don't get to feel the love and we don't get to feel the joy and don't get to feel all the beautiful emotions as well.
because we're coming from numbness.
But in the same way, when we don't feel safe and we feel like we've had to put a mask onto the world, and so it means that other people can't see us properly, what it also means is that we can't see ourselves properly. So all of that comes down, and then we get to actually know, wow,
Hmm.
I am this extraordinary soul, and I get to be in this vortex of becoming in this lifetime.
So, the fifth reason that a sacred healing journey literally brings about lasting change is that actually MDMA is not a hallucinogenic, which
Mhm.
many people think that it is.
Right,
As we were just talking about, it's actually classified as a pathogen.
right,
And the reason that it's not a hallucinogenic, meaning we don't experience hallucinations.
right.
So that allows us as coaches, as guides to the journey,
Yeah.
to be able to actually really guide people through an experience of going very deep and doing really deep work that the client does not see pictures and things and whatever that are distracting, that we're able to go deep inside ourselves.
MDMA really turns the lens inwards so that we are very focused on our heart space, our feelings. People often ask, like, am I lucid? You are actually you are clearer than you've probably ever been in your life. Like, you're absolutely able to speak, you're able to express yourself, you're able to follow your own thoughts, and you're able to look within in a very profound way.
So it's not that we are hallucinating and seeing images from the outside. We are experiencing ourselves, probably, as you said, for the very first
We
time.
are.
from such a loving space
Yep.
and an open space.
It's like we find that core part of us in deep inside that is our true essence. And that's what we're able to actually experience and
We find
feel.
truth.
We do find
We
truth,
find truth with a
tremendous
capital
truth.
T.
We do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a lot of people ask, like, is this plant medicine? It's not plant medicine. And many people use plant medicine with wonderful results.
Mm-hmm.
And for the two of us, what the reason that we really prefer MDMA personally, and the reason that we work in the way that we do with MDMA, is because with plant medicine, it often will take you sort of where on it has its own agenda of where it will take
Yeah.
you, and it becomes for a lot of people a bit of an external journey.
Mm-hmm.
This to me is the journey inwards.
Yeah.
And what I love about that is on my phone for like the last 4 years, I have had this beautiful a picture of a sculpture that's at the Borghese
Mm.
Gallery in Rome. And it is the abduction of Persephone by Pluto. And so it's the moment that Persephone, who is the daughter of Demeter, who is the goddess of the harvest. Persephone is, a young, beautiful girl, and she's out playing in the field. And and Pluto, who is the god of the underworld, he's been keeping his eye on her, and he comes and he grabs her, and he yanks her down into the underworld.
Mm.
And it is number one, it is one of the most beautiful statues that you have ever seen in your life. It is
Mm.
just extraordinary. It's just like this spiral
Mm.
up of these figures, and the three-headed dog, of like the, protector of hell behind Pluto. But the reason that I've had this on my phone as a reminder is that the hero's journey is a very external journey where,
Mm.
it's the ordinary man usually who is called to some grand adventure and, denies the call, or, says, "Oh, this isn't me, like this isn't who I am," but then eventually accepts the call, is initiated, meets the mentor, goes through all of the trials, slays the dragon, and comes, back home to share of his wisdom. But the heroine's journey is a
Mm.
different journey. The heroine's journey is the one,
Mm.
the spiral down into the underworld, into her own self. And that is really the biggest difference that I feel with MDMA, is that it is the true journey into ourselves,
Oneself.
where it's not this external thing out in the outside world. It's inside of ourselves, where we get to meet ourselves and who we really are at our core
Maybe for the very first time.
for the first time.
Yeah. We meet ourselves. Yeah. So if this is an experience, any of you listeners, after we've shared our own experience and that of clients, if this is something that you are curious about for yourself, and would like to chat with us about, please just reach out to us, on all the various social medias,
Mhm.
and we would be honored to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. This work has absolutely changed our entire life trajectory. And I mean, we were just having a conversation a couple of days ago with someone
Mm.
who had her first journey,
Yeah.
and she said, I feel like I made more progress in one day than I did in 35 years before. And I would have gone to my grave without having touched cracked any of this open. I just wasn't able to. I was never going to be able to do it from
I
my
was
head.
never going to be able to do it. Oh my God. It has completely changed who I am.
It's absolutely worth the price of admission. Yeah. Thank you for joining us in today's conversation.
We
We
love
appreciate you.
we love this
We love
conversation.
this
You can tell
conversation.
it's
Mhm.
dear and close to our hearts.
Very dear and close to our hearts. Yeah. And we'll
Mm.
see you in the next conversation.
Ciao for now. Thank you so much for listening to The Becoming.
We'd love for you to join our growing community. Please subscribe to the podcast, share this episode with a friend, and leave a 5-star review.
It truly means the world to us and helps others to find their way here too. We'll see you in the next episode.